Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, and Chris Flaherty, Anthony Matos with sports, Peter Brown with the weather, Marge Yetman with senior news, and Gretchen Carey with community calendar. Thank you for joining us. Burlington's legislative body, town meeting, convened for one of its 3 annual meetings this week. BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles was there and has the rundown for you. Let's start.
In a marathon town meeting session that adjourned minutes before midnight, town meeting members voted down 3 warrant articles that would have allowed Burlington to hold hybrid town meetings pending approval from the state. It was a divided vote, with some members saying hybrid town meetings would have allowed more community members, including lower income and younger people, to serve on Burlington's 126-member legislative body. But moderator Bill Byer, who led hybrid meetings during the COVID era, recused himself from the moderator role to speak against the articles, he said a hybrid model changed the dynamic and made it more difficult to have a rigorous, thoughtful debate among neighbors. In other articles, town meeting voted in favor of a new rule from the planning board meant to reduce the need for excess parking spaces and reduce rush hour traffic. Under the new rules, property owners can work with the planning board to come up with a plan to share parking spaces, and new large businesses in town will be asked to show plans encouraging workers to take public transportation, carpool, or come to work outside of the main commute hours. Planning Director Liz Bonventry was the driving force behind the new rule, and she joins me on this week's episode of the BNews podcast, The Burlington Brief, to talk about it, so make sure to check that out. A warrant article submitted on behalf of Herb Chambers Honda of Burlington was postponed. That's after an attorney for the dealership said they received last-minute notification that some neighbors around the property had concerns about their plans. The dealership was before the Select Board in July, seeking to monetize its 93 Cambridge Street location. And moderator Bill Byer turned down a request from town meeting member Sarah Colley to add an item at the last minute, a resolution opposing a controversial senior housing proposal, Windview Heights 2. Some members appealed the moderator's decision, but didn't have enough votes to overrule him. Notably not on the agenda were financial articles on upcoming capital projects for the town, the Fox Hill Elementary School, the Burlington High School, and the police station. Those articles are expected in future town meetings. That's it for now. Back to you.
Burlington School Committee had an eventful meeting Tuesday. We're going to get into all of it. In a public comment period, 2 members of the community urged the school committee to drop out of the MSBA, the state agency that is helping Burlington renovate the Fox Hill Elementary School. Edward Parsons, who is a member of the committee in charge of replacing Fox Hill, argued the compromises we are making to work with the MSBA might not be worth what we're getting for it. Let's watch.
We're making some compromises, and we need to evaluate the value of those compromises versus the prospective MSBA reimbursement. I believe leaving unfinished business with a substantial first project among several now under consideration would be a mistake. And so I'm here to urge you to consider, for comparison, a third option, that of withdrawing from the MSBA process and building a 4-classroom per grade school that would better serve the school district as a whole.
Leaving the MSBA could cost the district millions in state aid for the project. Depending on which option Burlington chooses, the MSBA could kick in anywhere between $27 million to $40 million. Parsons' full comment is available on our website, bcattv.org. 2 Burlington schools are on a state list of 275 schools in need of assistance or intervention. That's based on an analysis of spring 2023 MCAS test scores and other measures, according to the Boston Globe. Crucially, the schools were not on the list because of test scores, but rather because not enough students in particular subgroups took the test at all. Superintendent Eric Conti explained the rationale.
And we made that list not for a performance issue. During the pandemic, part of the state's accountability system is participation is one of the factors that they look for. You need to have 95% of your students participate in the state testing. If you fell below that 95%, that puts you on the state's list.
At Fox Hill, one of the 2 schools on the list, the subgroup with low participation was students with disabilities. Dr. Conti explained that that was because some parents chose not to have their students take the test at all. School committee member Christine Monaco suggested some action could be taken to work on that.
There's sort of a feeling that some of the parents don't believe in the testing, the state testing, that it's of value. And so maybe what we need to do is explain all of this, that A, there is a value, and B, it does reflect poorly on the district when we don't have enough of our students taking the tests.
In the other school on the state list, the high school, the group that fell below the participation rate was English language learner students. Superintendent Conti said the district has already begun a new day academy to help support that group, and preliminary data about the attendance rates is promising. School committee chair Martha Simon said the committee takes the findings seriously.
So a lot of people do track the scores of the district and look at the ratings that get published and things like that. And it is something that we do take seriously. And I'm looking forward to hearing the report after we have a chance to look through the data and have Dr. Chen report on it. And we can look at what things we can be doing differently and in what areas are we doing well and that kind of thing.
A full report on spring MCAS scores is expected in October in the October committee meeting. In further news from the school committee, the Burlington School District is planning to hire an additional homelessness liaison. Dr. Conti said it's because of a surge in homelessness in the district. In a typical year, Burlington might have 1 to 3 students experiencing homelessness, but this year it has as many as 30. About half of that number is students who have been housed in local hotels under the state's right to shelter laws. The other half are longer-term Burlington families struggling to find housing. Once the position is filled, a new social worker will help homeless students with vaccinations and other matters, and will help families find housing. Charles Lyons, former superintendent of Shawshene Valley Technical High School, passed away on Monday after a battle with cancer. Lyons was named Shawshene superintendent at age 33 and served in the position for 29 years. Lyons was also a mentor to Burlington Superintendent Eric Conti. Conti acknowledged Lyons' loss on Monday. Here he is.
Charlie was a presence, if you've ever had the pleasure of meeting him. And like I said, I felt like he was very generous with his time and answering my questions. And again, he was just a legend in my business, and he'll be sorely missed.
A funeral mass is planned for Tuesday, October 3rd at St. Agnes Church in Arlington. Members of Burlington's LGBT community and their allies have been meeting with the Burlington Police Department in recent months in an effort to improve relations. It's a conversation that was started over the summer after Marshall Simons Middle School made international news of an LGBT Pride Day that was met with student protests. The police reaffirmed their commitment to treating all residents with respect. Community members asked the police to consider hosting a table at next year's Pride event or to show support and understanding by adding pronouns to their email signatures. A lottery for new affordable housing units drew more than 800 applications, about 200 of them from Burlington. The lottery was for 23 affordable units at the forthcoming Lifetime Living development. The units were designated for households earning below 80% of the area median income, which is about $83,000 a year for a single person, or $118,000 a year for a family of 4. A 2022 report on Burlington's housing needs found that only about 565 units in Burlington are truly affordable. The town would need to build more than 2,000 additional units of affordable housing to meet the current need. A New York State police dog has been named after a fallen officer from Burlington. Ryan Fortini grew up in town and worked as a New York State trooper. He served as a first responder during 9/11 and passed away in 2020 due to an illness stemming from that assignment. And now the New York State trooper Matthew Gelbman has named K9 Fortini in Ryan Fortini's honor. Trooper Gelbman says it's an honor to work with Ryan Fortini's namesake. K9 Fortini is training in narcotics detection, handler protection, and tracking fugitives and lost people. New York State State Police regularly name police dogs after fallen officers in the line of duty. A science academy in Burlington has received a grant to help them invest in STEM education. BNews reporter Chris Flaherty paid them a visit and has this report.
Over on Adams Street, the instructors at Einstein's workshop are teaching kids the ways of STEM through everything from artwork to video games.
Our goal is to get kids excited about STEM. Robotics, programming, 3D printing, whatever the kids find interesting, we work backwards. So we teach a lot of classes using Minecraft as a classroom. Kids think they're playing a game. We think we're teaching them something. Good deal for everybody. A lot of kids are into art, so we use art to introduce them to various technology tools. We started as a first Lego League, so we still do first Lego League, and we love it. Whatever the kids are into in the STEM fields, and we add a lot of art as well.
Like many academic institutions, Einstein shifted to a virtual format during the pandemic, but their programming is now bouncing back.
Our summer camps have more or less rebounded. We sort of joke that we offer guilt-free daycare. Kids are learning something fun. The parents get to go to work knowing the kids are having fun but also learning something. But the school year classes have really not rebounded, so we're hoping every year will get better.
Recently, Einstein's was awarded a grant from the Massachusetts Growth Capital Corporation.
So the idea is businesses run a crowdfunding campaign, and for every $1 we raise through the campaign, they give us $2. So it's a pretty good deal for us. Specifically designed to help with buying or leasing equipment or building leases. In our case, we haven't been able to update any of our computers since before the pandemic, so we'll use it to update our computers, maybe get some of the newer Lego kits. I'd like to get some different kind of 3D printer than the kind we currently have. It's really exciting. Pandemic's been hard, and it's nice that Massachusetts is trying hard to help us out. And it's also exciting, we were sort of budgeting when can we get new computers, because some of the computers are slow, right? So it's exciting to know that we'll be able to get them soon.
Einstein's goal is to get kids excited about science and technology, and with the assistance of the grant, they'll be able to expand their programming and community outreach.
Post-pandemic, we've been hearing from even more schools than we used to hear from. During the school year, we teach classes here on weekends, but we also go to schools and teach classes after school, various places around Massachusetts, and the demand has really risen. And we've actually had to turn people away because they were too far or we didn't have enough staff. So a grant will help with that too. We'll be able to have more computers so we can send teachers more places and maybe hire another teacher. In the end, our goal, I like to say we're nonprofit in spirit. Our goal is really just to get kids excited about science and technology.
Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
A years-long investment in a grape crop is finally coming to an end at the Burlington Community Garden. Tad Stefanak has been following along, and he brings us the final installment of the series, Good Gardening.
It's been 8 months since we first pruned grapevines, and now Leslie has been harvesting for the last few days. We have 2 different varieties. We have 5 vines, 2 different varieties. We've already filled up 150 pounds of grapes, so it looks like we better have another 100 pounds or so of grapes. We haven't sprayed in over 6 weeks, so the flies are enjoying the grapes, definitely. But it's okay. We don't want to send any pesticides up to the food pantry. So these will go directly up to the pantry from here. But once we're done here, we'll take the netting down, fold it up, and we'll just leave the vines the way they are. The last thing we'll do in October after the leaves fall is we'll go out and rake up pine needles, and we'll mulch this bed with pine needles and say goodbye for 3 months and let it just sit out here during the winter.
As October rolls around in just a few days, we turn to a new page in the calendar at the Burlington Senior Center. Council on Aging Director Marge Jetman is here with the details.
Hello and welcome to pumpkin season. October is one of my favorite months, topped off by Halloween at the end. And we have programs celebrating the season and some that completely ignore it. So whatever your preferences are, we hope you'll find some reason to come to the center. Sadly, after 10 years of incredible work helping our older residents navigate all the vagaries of aging well, we are losing Brenda to her next chapter. Although we are more than sad to see her go, we are very excited at the return of Shayla Farron, who interned with us during the pandemic from September 2020 through April of 2021. Some of you met her during her internship, and we are thrilled to have her back permanently. We will be having a retirement party for Brenda on October 5th from 10 to 12 down at the Grandview Barn. Please come on down and help us send her off into her future. We will have Drum Fusion on Tuesday the 3rd at its usual time. On Wednesday the 4th, we have the Jazz Band at 12:30, and we will have a digital literacy information session at 3 p.m. This program is a result of a grant from the state, and there are certain conditions we have to meet, which we will explain at the info session. On Tuesday the 10th, we will have Crafty Creations, which will be a craft of your choice. You will be able to make a candle holder, planter, or pencil holder out of clothespins. Immediately following the craft, we have a luncheon with Adria Longmeadow. There is a strict limit of 50, so make sure to RSVP. No walk-ins will be allowed. After lunch, we'll celebrate Oktoberfest with the Mad Bavarians. On Wednesday the 11th, we'll have a tea tasting, which you definitely need to sign up for, as it will be held in a small room. We'll show Bye Bye Birdie on Monday the 16th, and Wellness Wednesday will bring the program Exercise for Arthritis with Dr. Mike Stair. And then for pizza and a movie, we'll show Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. On Tuesday from 1 to 4, we are bringing back the Safety and Wellness Fair. On Wednesday the 25th, we'll all meet for a presentation about the sculpture garden. We'll show Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein again on Monday the 30th, and end the month with Roger Tinknell on the 31st for a Halloween concert. Monday, October 9th, the Senior Center will be closed for the holiday. That's all for now. I'm Margie Ettman, and I hope to see you at the Senior Center.
It was a pretty big week in BHS sports, and BNEWS sports anchor Anthony Matos has all the details.
Hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos, this weekly sports report. A lot of things happened this week, so let's get to it. Red Devil football competed at home with Cambridge Ringe and Latin on September 22nd, so we have these highlights.
The Burlington Red Devils returned home to Varsity Field for a league meet with the Cambridge Ringe and Latin Falcons. The Devils put points on the board in the first quarter with a run by Ryan Brooks. 6-0 Devils. The extra point was no good. On the kickoff return, the Falcons receiver fumbled the ball, which gave the Devils great field position as it was recovered by Burlington. Joey Poling got himself a touchdown in Wildcat formation, 12-0. Brooks added 2 more points on the conversion for Burlington, 14-0. Later on in the first, quarterback Anthony Guerrier followed Charlie Hannafin down the field for another Devils TD, 20-0. Extra point was no good. At the end of one, it was 20-0 Devils. The Falcons were on the board in the second quarter, 20-6 by a run by senior Shamir Mersadat. Extra point was no good. Cambridge Ringe and Latin scored later on with 4 minutes left in the second with another TD by Mersadat, 20-12. Extra point was no good. At half, 20-12 Burlington. Now in the third quarter, on the first play of the Burlington drive, Ryan Brooks ran down the field for a 69-yard touchdown, 26-12. Extra point was good by Josh Pupa.
See you later. 69 yards.
Burlington had 2 more touchdowns in the third with another run by Brooks, 35-12 with the extra point. And another TD by Charlie Hannafin, 42-12 with successful extra point. An 88-yard run by Mersadat came short of the goal line as he stumbled at the 1-yard line, setting up the Falcons in the red zone.
89 yards, Shamir Mersadat will be chased down by Ryan Ellis. He's slowing down and will do a Daniel Jones.
Junior Dante Howard ran it himself for the score, 42-18 with a 2-point attempt, no good. The Devils let the clock run in the fourth as your final in the one-sided affair was 42-18 Burlington.
Senior Ryan Brooks was named the Boston Globe D4 Player of the Week for his performance against Ringe and Latin. Brooks had 5 carries for 105 yards and 3 touchdowns and 5 tackles with 1 pass breakup. Awesome job, Ryan. We're all looking forward to seeing the matchup with Wakefield. You can catch all the action on September 29th live on our BCAT Facebook page at 6 p.m. Highlights for that game will be in next week's sports report. The Junior Red Devils football team are 3-0 this season after defeating Winchester on the 27th, where they won 40-32. Earlier in the week, BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris went down to chat with the team on their success.
Down at the Marshall Simons Middle School, you will see the Junior Red Devil football team practicing during the weeknights, with games being held on Wednesday evenings. Now in his third year as the coach, Tim Vadnais has seen a following over the years, while the registration numbers are gradually improving.
We got 2 teams again this season. We got a JV team, we got a varsity team. I think we're sitting around 53 total kids in the program, which is a big win for us for sure. We ran a lot of camps in the spring. Once a month sort of camps, get-togethers, coaching kids, teaching them the fundamentals, the basics, kind of getting back to that sort of stuff, and you're starting to see it pay off this year. We're definitely a lot more crisp than we were last year. We returned a lot of kids, and the kids are having fun, and that's always a good thing to win.
The team always has a packed crowd at their games.
We have a lot of dedicated coaches, a lot of Burlington alumni as coaches, which really helps. We have a lot of help from the high school now. Coach Balian, Coach McDonough, all those guys come down quite a bit, and they talk to the kids, and that's always great. And, the support from the town, if you come over here for home games, it's packed. It's absolutely packed.
5 captains were voted in this year for the 23 season.
We got 5 captains this year. Coaches voted and the kids voted, so we gave it kind of a dual voting on that sort of thing. And they're a good group. They've been, a lot of these kids have been playing football for a long time. They've been playing since they were probably, some of them as early as 7 years old, so they're a lot of experienced kids. But we also get newer kids, right? They just come out in that last few years, and they just love the game, and they step up, and they show us a ton of leadership, and they're a very organized group. They got group texts. They stay close together. I think there's 53 kids on the high school team. 40 of them came through this program. So you're starting to see that success kind of work its way up now.
I spoke with 2 of them, including running back Brian Tagia and lineman Christos Tassiopoulos.
Overall, it's really fun. It's a fun experience. I feel like this team's more of a family than we are just teammates, so overall, I like being here, and yeah, it's a great time.
I'm on the right tackle of the offensive line. I work a lot with my teammates on the 5 front, hitting the defensive tackles and ends, and it's really fun.
Vadnais wants the kids to value respect towards others and their opponents.
Just learn to be respectful young men. That's sort of the goal here is we're teaching them the basics, so when Coach Malian and those guys get a hold of them, they kind of take them and run with it going forward to the next level, right? We're just sort of the beginning. So we kind of teach them hard work, the basics, all that good stuff, and then when they get to the high school, it's where it really hopefully takes off and get us Gillette one day.
All our friends are here, obviously on the field, and our friends are watching us, coming and supporting us. I feel like we're more of a community when we're all here, just having fun playing football.
You have more respect for your opponents than if you were to play flag football, per se, because you're going really up against each other and you're really hitting each other, so you got to respect them just as much as they respect you.
From MSMS Field, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Sports.
Lady Devils Field Hawk get a shutout win against Melrose in the 22nd. Goals in the game are made by senior Elizabeth Delory, senior captain Renee Lecomte, and senior captain Mia Lauder. On September 26th, Wakefield is at Varsity Field. We go to these highlights.
Girls varsity field hockey competed against the Wakefield Warriors on the evening of September 26th at Varsity Field. Senior captain Mia Lauder got the Devils on the board 1-0 in the first half. Wakefield tied up the game in the second half.
Gets it in!
And then took the lead with another goal.
Doesn't. Gets it in! 2-1 Wakefield.
Your final 2-1 Wakefield.
As of taping, the team is 2-5 and will compete in Wilmington at Varsity Field on September 28th. More on that game next week. Red Devil Golf had their first win over Woburn Memorial on September 22nd, 38.5 to 33.5. The Melrose Red Raiders will be the next opponent on September 28th. Currently, the team's 1-4. Lady Devils Volleyball had a 3-0 win over Watertown on the 21st. The winning streak came to an end in Wayland on the 22nd with a 3-1 loss. A league match against Melrose at the Vanilla Gym on the 26th, where the girls lost 3-1. Wakefield on the 28th. We'll have an update next week. Boys soccer is now 0-6 after a 4-0 loss to Watertown on the 21st and a 6-0 loss to Wakefield on the 23rd. On the 27th, they were shut out 3-0. The team is 0-7 on the season. Girls soccer team won by a point against Saugus High School on the 25th. Sophomore Brianna Thomas scored the goal in that one. The ladies hosted Melrose on the 27th. They lost by a close score of 3-2. Goals in the game were made by Thomas and senior Morgan Ryan. Burlington is now 4-3 this season. Both cross-country teams competed with Wakefield on the 26th at Varsity Field. The girls lost by a score of 50-15, while the boys lost a close one of 30-27. The girls are 0-3 and the boys are 1-1. October 3rd, they'll be in Wilmington. The combined Woburn and Burlington girls swim team will be back in action on the 27th against Reading, where the Rockets won 88-82. Two swimmers, Kaylee McCarthy and Sarah Herbst, were mere tenths of a second for qualifying with 100 freestyle and the 100 backstroke individual events for the sectionals championship. Currently, the team is 1-2. For more Devil action at BCAT2.org/sports, and check out our Twitter page at BNEWS Sports. That's all for now. I'm Anthony Matos. Back to you guys.
Gretchen Carey is here with your community calendar, but first let's turn to weatherman Peter Brown for the local forecast.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown to look at your weather for the next 7 days. Here we are heading in towards October. As we start out our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures now at the tail end of September around 70 for this time of the year, and we're going to be right about that, maybe a little bit cooler to start our period out. As we get towards the end of our period next week, getting towards the end of the first week of October, we should be seeing temperatures again in the upper 60s, and we're going to be actually much warmer than that next week. So a really warm start to October coming up, so that's some great news. So as you go ahead, let's take a look what the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation here in the Burlington area over the next 7 to 10 days. And looking at our temperature map again, this is something we didn't see much of in September, certainly something we didn't see much of during the summer. We're having a really, really high chance of above average temperatures, and I am definitely seeing that in the next 7 days. And looking at our precipitation chances, this is perfect, giving us a chance to dry out from all of that soggy weather we've been having over these past couple of weeks. Dry and warm conditions to start our October, so some really pleasant news out there in the weather department. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what those 7 days of weather are going to be bringing us here in the Burlington area. And starting out again on our weekend, Friday and Saturday, those are the only 2 days that have a little bit of a hiccup really in our forecast for the next week or so. That's when we might see a pesky but very weak system just south of New England. Could throw some clouds and showers here and there. It doesn't look like it's going to be anything solid out there. No heavy, steady rain. Temperatures staying a little bit cool in the upper 60s, but thereafter the sun is going to come blazing out on Sunday, and it is going to be right with us through the end of the period and right into next weekend, I think, as well. I'm seeing temperatures in the 70s, and yes, even on Monday, Tuesday, look at that, temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. I wouldn't be surprised if we see temperatures maybe getting up into the low 80s if the high pressure center develops a little bit to our east. So looks like we have some really nice late summer weather coming up here as we go in towards October. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
Hi, and welcome to the Burlington Brief. I'm your host, Sydney Bowles.
And I'm your other host, Sarah Eshelman. We're here to bring you a no-nonsense,
maybe a little nonsense,
guide to what's happening in Burlington, from major capital projects to schools to business and society.
Tune in every week for fresh interviews with people at the center of local news and conversations between two journalists who know what's up. So subscribe to the Burlington Brief to make sure you don't miss a single thing and get the best of local news delivered right to your ears.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On October 4th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a Zoom event with best-selling author Marie Benedict, writer of The Mitford Affair. To register for this event, go to the library website. On October 7th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having Goat Yoga at the TRW Field and Fitness Court. For more information and to register, go to burlingtonrecreation.org. Also on October 7th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Burlington Mall will be having an event called Artisans on the Park, a curated market for makers, artists, farmers, small businesses, and more. Applications are now open. Contact Michelle Johnson. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your Community Calendar.
And as we do every week, we end with a photo sent in by a member of the community. This week's photo is from Steve Morin. He sent it in from York, Maine, and says he's enjoying the last vestiges of summer. Thank you, Steve. If you want to have a photo featured here, email it to us at bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. Thank you for watching. We're going to leave you with some scenes, behind-the-scenes video of our intrepid crew at a Burlington football game. Thank you for joining us.